And welcome back to my channel. First of all, I hope you're all doing very, very well. As you can see, I am currently by myself. Sorry, I'm just trying to fix something here, which I slightly messed up in the build up to this. I do apologize. But yeah, I'm starting the stream by myself, but the plan is to get some of you guys on this channel, on this stream, especially the members. Of course, I did put the link to this stream into the community post, which you can only see if you remember. So I'm going to my channel, click on the community post, and I'll click the link. If you do want to join the stream, I might not bring you in from the get-go because I just want to talk about a few things before we, discuss other things together, because there is a lot to discuss. There's a lot to discuss. It's what is wrong with Traore? I'm not sure what you're talking about here, but anyway, appreciate all of you guys. Of course I do. Of course I do. You guys are fantastic. Let me just try and finish a couple of these things here. There we go. There we go. There we go. My apologies. Ladies and gentlemen, how are we feeling today? How are we feeling today? Put it in the chat. I hope you're all good. I hope you're all well. If you're new here, please be sure to subscribe. That'd be massively appreciated. Of course it would be. Smash the like button right now. I mean, we already have 30 people in. We're only 3 minutes in. So get subscribed if you haven't already. I will be answering all of your questions today. Like I said, if you're a member, you can join the stream. And, we're going to have a good time. We're going to have an absolutely fantastic time today. But yeah. What shall we start with today? What shall we start with today? I love the Euros. Let's start with that. But I do want to discuss all of it with you guys later on. I love it. I had a great time. Yesterday was brilliant, wasn't it? Yesterday was absolutely brilliant. We'll talk about the round of 16 fixtures and everything. We'll talk about everything today, guys. But yeah, I had a great time. What an end to the group stages that was. Honestly, I mean, I was in the pub. I was watching the France-Portugal game on the one screen and then the Germany-Hungary game on the other screen. It was a madness. Actually, guys, I did meet up with Elizabeth Helenek and her husband yesterday because they're on holiday in my town. Don't know why they decided to come to my town, but they did, right? So we met up in the pub yesterday and watched the football. So that was brilliant. Just to say, doing well, supporting as I can from work and hoping on Tuesday King Kai bins England. Fair dues. Appreciate you as always, Jester. I should probably highlight it, shouldn't I? Hey, appreciate you as always. And I know you're at work, so I appreciate you tuning in anyways. And Melinda, of course, yeah, if Italy did just score a couple more against 10-man Wales, Switzerland will not be playing France right now. So that will be different. But hey, it is what it is. Sorry you were late, bro. We literally started 4 minutes ago. So you didn't miss much. You didn't miss much, my G. But yeah, what shall we put it in the chat, guys? What do you think we should start with today? Because there's a lot to discuss. Obviously, the Undertaker says here the Hakimi deal is not over yet. I suppose we could probably start with that. Well, the latest reports is that PSG have beaten Chelsea to the signing of Achraf Hakimi from Inter Milan. Obviously, slightly disappointing. He's a player I wanted if we were to stick to a 3 at the back system. But it seems like PSG obviously just beat us to it because they just didn't, just money offer, basically. They just, offered them just money, and we were like, take some money and like Alonso or Zabacosta or Emerson, one of them lot, just take one of them. But Inter needing money very desperately, they were probably more of a fan of that. Plus, some of Achraf Hakimi's family live in Paris. They're reportedly at least PSG fans, so PSG was actually his first choice. So, it is what it is. You have to take. Sometimes you can't get everyone you can. If his family live there, fair play. And we'll talk about Adama Traore and would we have wanted Hakimi and all of that stuff. So it's a tough one for me personally. I mean, obviously, Undertaker said here, it's not over yet. It's not over yet officially. I mean, Fabrizio Romano has said it's happening. Basically, it's happening. The Inter are just waiting for PSG to, hand in or whatever you want to call it to launch their official bids of the 70 million euros, as far as I'm aware. So they're just waiting for that to happen. And once PSG do that, it's a done thing. Until then, it might be a different discussion. But, once that happens, and we have to presume it will happen eventually, he will probably be a PSG player. How do I feel about that? I'll talk about it with some of you guys later as well. But I've said it on the stream a couple of days ago already, right? For me, I really wanted Hakimi if it's true that Tuchel wants to stick to a 3 at the back system and therefore play a wing back. Because I think Reece James is a phenomenal player, probably my favourite player in the current Chelsea squad. But I think he's phenomenal as a right back, and I think he can be phenomenal as a right centre back. I don't personally believe he's phenomenal as a right wing back. So I would have liked to see us improve in the right wing back position. That would have made sense to me. But only if it's a top class right wing back. And hey, it doesn't get much more top class than Achraf Hakimi because, in my opinion, he's probably the best right wing back in the world. Of course, there's a somewhat limited position to judge because not that many teams actually play right wing backs, right? And you probably would have thought Reece James would be an amazing right wing back, but somehow he isn't, right? What I don't like is this whole story of apparently Thomas Tuchel being interested in Adama Traore. I don't understand this. Honestly, I don't understand this. I've seen a lot of people that like Traore for something that to me is completely. I just don't understand it. I don't understand how you can like Adama Traore. Well, don't hate him as a guy, but as a footballer. Do you know what I mean? Like, he just screams Ross Barkley to me. Has all of the physical ability, or most of the technical ability, but just doesn't do nothing. Ever. Nothing. Do you know what I mean? Like, I know he's strong. I know he's fast. I know he dribbles. Yeah, he dribbles off the pitch half the time. He dribbles into humans half the time. It's like Timo Werner, just more muscly and more shit. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's just not my thing. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you like Adama, fair play to you, in all honesty, but I don't get it. Honestly, I don't get it. And if Tuchel actually wants Traore, I'm just baffled. But why? Like, this just screams another, like, Adama Traore, not David Zappacosta, or, like I said, Ross Barkley type of signing to me. It's like, okay, we can't get the first choice target. So rather than, chilling and focusing on other areas instead, we just buy some B-Tech option, which no one really needs, no one really wants. Like, especially if we're going to go play a 3-4-2-1 anyway, there's no place for Callum Hudson-Odoi to play on the wing much. Let's not kid ourselves. So let him at least be the backup right wing back in my books. It's a crazy one. Yeah, and he rubs himself in baby oil. I mean, you're not a WWE wrestler, bro. You're a footballer. Act like it. Can't hack it. Anyways, we have a super chat here, but Percy Beck, appreciate it, saying, your pick for Ballon d'Or, your choice and my expectation. Oh, it's obviously a bit early because obviously the Ballon d'Or is handed out in January. So we're like literally 6-7 months away from this happening. And obviously there's 6-7 months of football to be played. And most importantly, another 2 weeks of the Euros, which will obviously, or even 3 weeks nearly, which will play a big part in, who wins this, in my opinion at least. And so it usually happens. Whoever wins the Euros, the World Cup, and maybe even Copa America, of course, it's also going on at the moment. You have to consider that. My honest pick, I don't know, bro. Would Kante have a shout? 100%. 100% he has a shout, especially if France win the Euros. Do I expect France to win the Euros at this point? Maybe. We'll talk about that later. Maybe Jorginho should win the Ballon d'Or. Champions League winner, Euros winner. Maybe Jorginho should win the Ballon d'Or. What's my expectation? Well, again, it just depends on the Euros. If Portugal win the Euros, Ronaldo gets the Ballon d'Or. If somehow Argentina win the Copa America, Messi gets the Ballon d'Or. I guarantee it, right? If Belgium win the Euros, maybe Kevin De Bruyne has a shout, I mean, he somehow won PFA Player of the Year, which no one really knows how that happened, but, fair enough. It's appreciate the donation, appreciate the question, Percy, but in my opinion, it's a really difficult one to call and to judge. Because there's just too much time to go, if that makes sense. There's just too much time to go. I understand he's generational, but paying a 20-year-old 500 to 600K a week seems way too much. I presume you're talking about Haaland. Well, it is what it is. The people who like Adama Traore are playing the wrong sport, man. He would be a great wrestler, American football player. He would be fantastic at those things. What can I see here? You must be... All right, there's a lot of comments. I skipped some of them. I do apologize. Where would Traore play at Chelsea? He doesn't score goals. No, he will be a right wing back, obviously. That's why he'd be our backup option to Hakimi. And obviously, the right wing back isn't necessarily meant to score goals. But signing an attacker wing back is more important than people think. No, I agree. But we literally have Callum Hudson-Odoi if that's what you really need. Is Callum Hudson-Odoi a real wing back? No, of course he isn't. But is he still at least as good as Adama Traore? And we don't have to spend 30-40 million on him? Yes. So, it's fine. It's not even hate. I just don't rate him as a player, and I just think it's a pointless signing. I just would rather we focus our energies and our, budget on other things. Do you know what I mean? And like I say, I will try to discuss it. I have Alex waiting here already. Let's see if anybody else joins later on. we will discuss it because I do find it very intriguing that some people seem to really like him. And I just really don't. It's odd to me. I mean, Jester said it here. Looks like it's going to be Traore. After he put the blue on, he will have my support 100%. No, 100% agree. That's a good point, Jester. Once Chelsea do sign Adama Traore, if we do, I will 100% back him and support him and hope he does the best he can. But until then, I will find it a pointless signing, personally. And I'll explain it again when I'm talking about it to someone. Is it Kante? It's Kante or Leva. Ooh, I think Lewandowski is... I think Lewandowski obviously got done real dirty by the fact that he didn't win it last year because it wasn't officially handed out last year. Or, well, this year, I suppose. But with Bayern going out in the quarters and of the Champions League and Poland obviously not even making it past the group stages in the Euros, is just the goal-scoring record in the Bundesliga. Is that enough to win the Ballon d'Or? I don't think so. Like, do I think he's possibly be the world's best player right now? Maybe. Up there with Messi, in my opinion. Messi, in my opinion, is always the best actual player. But obviously, it's a team sport, so you can't just do it all by yourself. But I feel like if you go out in a quarterfinals of the Champions League and your nation, even though it's not a nation that you expect to do that much, still you expected them to do better, Poland. If you go out in the group stage, do you know what I mean? You don't want Traore or Rice. Well, fair dues. Jorginho, yeah, there you go. If Tuchel rates Adama, then I'm 100% okay with it. Yeah, see, that is also a fair point. And like I put in the title, back Tuchel, back him, 100%. I agree with that. But it's just like, what if Tuchel all of a sudden wanted to sign, I don't know, Stekelenburg and make him our starting goalkeeper over Edouard Mendy? Would you back him on that as well? Like, there's limitations to back him. Do you know what I mean? If he goes mental all of a sudden, I'm not saying Adama Traore is quite as crazy, but I just don't get it. Honestly, I don't get that one. I don't get that one. You don't have to worry about Argentina winning the Copa America. It's probably true. I mean, yeah, Adash makes a fair comment here. To be fair, Bayern going out of the Champions League only shows how important Lever is because, of course, he was injured in their quarterfinals tie against PSG. And yeah, I 100% agree that Bayern go through against them if they do have Lewandowski. But they didn't. Do you think we are involved in a Varane transfer at all? It's again one of those where I'm just not sure what the plan is. Do you know what I mean? I just don't know what the plan is. Is the genuine plan to just play three at the back for the majority of next season? If so, then I don't think we'll get Varane personally. Because then we have Aspi and Reece James as centre-back options and we have 4 other centre-backs, 5. Could even sell Zuma if you wanted to. Well, 4 other options, and then with them it's 6, right? And you could even sell Zuma and you'd be fine. But if you switch to a back 4, then we might need to consider our centre-back options because in a back 4, they might not be that great. Ladies and gentlemen, just quickly, again, be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Smash that like button. It's always massively appreciated. And of course, download the OneFootball app with the link down in the description and just listen to what I have to tell you in the upcoming clip. I want to say a massive thank you to OneFootball for partnering up with me and sponsoring my channel. Like the name suggests, it's a football app. And trust me, it's one of the best ones out there. You get all the latest football news from pretty much every single team and league all around the world. Team news, live score updates, league tables, fixture lists, everything you could possibly want to know in the world of football, you find it right there. Never want to miss out on any news surrounding Chelsea again? OneFootball has got you covered. As you can see on screen now, all the news is all there in one place. Whether it's the latest injury news, articles before and after games, or of course, transfer rumors. And with the transfer window actually opening and coming up soon, as well, you'll definitely want to make use of that transfer indicator, which not only tells you about all the rumors out there, it also tells you how likely a certain transfer actually is to happen. Like I said, it's honestly a brilliant app that I can only recommend downloading with the link down in the description below. And downloading the app with my link also really helps out my channel. All it takes is literally a few seconds to click that link down in the description below. Doesn't matter whether you're an iPhone or Android, I download the app right there with that link. So again, go down below into the description and download the OneFootball app with my link right now. I do just want to, not rattle is maybe the wrong word, but talk through some of the other transfer rumors before I get Alex on. And of course, guys, like I said, if you remember and you want to join the stream, I posted the link on the community tab of my channel. So go to my channel to click on the community tab and follow the link there if you're available, if you fancy it. Of course, you do not have to. Appreciate all of you guys watching and tuning in. What are the other reports? Obviously, do I really have to add anything else to what we've currently discussed? I do want to give a quick update on Erling Haaland. Just yesterday, The Athletic, or was it today? I can't remember. The Athletic, it's not even a real update. It's just confirming what we already knew. Basically confirming again that that Haaland is Chelsea's number one priority and number one target. And even if he costs double of what Havertz cost us last summer, Chelsea are really going for it. Whether it will happen or not is a different discussion, but we're going for it. We're going for it. So if people are, thinking, we might be put off by his wages or by his transfer fee, we're not. Oh, transfer fee maybe. But the wages are not going to be a problem. You might not like the wages and you might think they're too high, but they're not going to stop Chelsea. The way it's being reported at the moment, at least. What else is there? AC Milan want to buy all of Chelsea teams. They want to buy Bakayoko. They want to buy Hakim Ziyech. Obviously the Hakim Ziyech one I reported at this point, 10 days, 2 weeks ago. If they can afford him, I don't like this loan and option to buy stuff because what if they can't afford him? Obviously, it worked out with Tomori in a way, even though he's probably the one that I wouldn't necessarily have wanted to sell. But do we really need to give them on loan? I don't know. If you come with money, off we go. But if you don't come with money, stay where you are. I'm not really that bothered. If I'm being totally honest with you, I'm not really that bothered. And Bakayoko, sure. The man's been everywhere since he's joined us. Obviously, he was on loan at AC Milan, was on loan at Napoli, and now apparently AC Milan wants to sign him according to his agent. Well, all the best to him if he goes there. I hope we can get a good feedback because that transfer was obviously a big L to everyone. That was an idea. When someone put it in the chat, Billy Gilmour. Billy Gilmour is, of course, being rumoured to be loaned out. I see a comment here by Jester as well saying, Farke and Tuchel are in the same coaching staff. That's why Tuchel is okay with him going on loan to Norwich. What coaching staff? In Mainz? In Stuttgart? I don't know. But if that's the case, fair enough, I suppose. But Billy Gilmour on loan is a tricky one. Would I like for him to go on loan? Yes. Would I only like for him to go on loan if we sign a central midfielder? Also, yes. Because I don't think we have enough midfielders if we don't sign one and let him go on loan. Obviously, the clubs that he's been linked with, first and foremost, Norwich, who, of course, got promoted with Daniel Farke, of course, a German manager. And what I do like about Norwich is that at least, when they last were in the Premier League, so a season ago, when they got relegated as well, but they play football. They play football, they stick to their guns, they try to play football. It's not like West Brom, where they just park their bus and it's pointless. While Slaven Bilic was West Brom coach, Conor Gallagher was improving and, it was a good loan for him. But once Sam Allardyce came in, Conor Gallagher maybe just learned how to be a DM, but he's not a DM. But that's all he learned there. So that's when a loan can be somewhat pointless. While Norwich could work, but obviously is it ideal if you get relegated, a bit like Ethan Ampadu and Ruben Loftus-Cheek this season? It's not 100% ideal now either, is it? There's been reports of apparently Rangers, Steven Gerrard and Rangers being interested in him. Of course, he joined us from the Rangers Academy, but is that the move we want for him to get him to Scotland? Obviously, Rangers play good football, Rangers are in Europe, so that's a positive, I guess. But the opponent levels are just not the levels that he needs to get used to play for Chelsea, in my opinion. There's a couple of others he's been linked with. As far as I'm aware, Leeds was mentioned somewhere, maybe one or two others. And then Graham Souness on Sky Sports, as far as I'm aware, made a comment that he thinks we should just keep him. He should basically learn from Jorginho, be under his wing. If Billy progresses well, challenge Jorginho for the spot. It's a shout as well, Billy, obviously, man of the match in the Euros against England, literally against Mason Mount. Couldn't have been more head-to-head if they tried, quite literally, because Mason Mount in the end ended up having self-isolating. Do you know what I mean? Obviously not for what happened on the pitch, I get that. It's just a joke. Anyway, it's a shout. But I feel Billy just needs game time. I think we need to get the best out of Billy. And while we have Jorginho, who's playing as well as he is, Billy's not gonna take his spot. Not in my opinion, at least. I know some of you don't rate Jorginho. I think Billy has a lot of experience to gain before he can even tie Jorginho's boots properly. Obviously, I know people love Billy and some people really dislike Jorginho, but that's my opinion. Jorginho is an amazing footballer. Yes, he's slow. Yes, he's weak. But everything else, the guy's amazing. And Billy has some time to go until he can genuinely challenge that, in my opinion. So would a loan doing well? Yes. the type of clubs I would look at, Norwich is not a bad shout. Obviously, ideally, it would be a slightly higher placed club, but a Norwich, a Southampton, possibly because they play attacking football. Okay, it's more pressing and counter-attacking, but still, at least not just parking the bus. So that's a positive. One of those clubs. Rangers is a difficult one. What have I seen here? I mean, people, can we please talk about Van Ginkel leaving the club, please? Oh no, Amit. So, if you guys don't know, Amit and I are mates. Stayed at the guy's house down in Brighton a couple of times. Had a good time, mate. Hope you're doing well. But yeah, he always said I look like Van Ginkel. Don't quite see it. But anyways, Van Ginkel has, of course, now officially been sold by Chelsea to PSV Eindhoven finally. So, sad times. Obviously, Melinda is not a fan of Declan Rice, especially at the Euros. But I told this to her privately as well. If we just go by the Euros, Harry Kane is the worst striker in the world. Does it mean he's actually the worst striker in the world? No, he isn't. And also he's playing next to Calvin Phillips. Obviously, he'd be playing next to Kante and next to Kovacic and next to Jorginho. It's a bit different. I'm not saying Calvin Phillips is bad, but he's not as good as our midfielders. So, anyways, The Athletic said RSC is going to get genuine opportunity. Did they? I saw a kind of tweet about this, but I didn't see the article. Come on, Ruben. Big up to Ruben. Love Ruben. I hope so. Obviously, his season at Fulham didn't go great. He got a lot of game time, but his performances were average at best, probably. Goal contributions, well, one. He got 1 assist, no goals. That's not good. It's really not good, especially because some of the season he played as a right inside 10 in the front three of a 3-4-3, like the position that Mount and Havertz played for us. So, not good to have that few goal involvements. If you played a 6 or an 8, maybe we could accept it, but in that role, it's a tough one. Rice is just empty calories. What is that slagging? That is crazy. I'm not. See, I've said this to many times. I don't think Rice is the greatest player in the world. I don't think Rice is the solution to everything. Not at all. But people are telling me back Tuchel by Traore. And reportedly, well, I've seen more reports of Tuchel wanting Rice than I've seen Tuchel wanting Traore. So if we're going to go by that whole idea of back Tuchel, well, then clearly we need to sign Rice, because unless the reports are all lying, he wants him. And my problem is just no one has given me a genuine shout of a DM who is available that's better than Declan Rice. And I think if Chelsea want to change to a back four, which maybe they don't even want to, and I think if we don't, we're fine with the midfielders we have. But if we want to change to a back four, we need a more real DM. And that doesn't mean Jorginho is bad, but he's not a real DM in the English definition of the word. Does that mean you need it necessarily? No. But with the defenders we have, slight, mistake proneness, whatever the word is, prone to make mistakes, positionally slightly dodgy at times, some a bit old in case of Thiago Silva and not exactly quick anymore. If you then play a centre-back too, you need a really good DM in front of them. That's all I'm saying. But I agree with Jester here. If we're staying with back three, Rice is not necessary. If we change to back four, he's a priority. 100% agree. Could not agree more with this statement. Have you watched Levi Colwell from the academy? Signed a new contract, proper baller from what I've seen. I've not seen much of him. I've seen a little bit of him, but I know a couple of people that obviously follow the academy a lot more than I do. I've spoken to them and they've praised Levi extremely highly. Obviously, he's now signed a new 4-year contract until 2025, and he's now going to go on loan to Huddersfield in the Championship. I'm pretty sure in the Championship. Did they get relegated? I'm pretty sure in the Championship. Anyway, so all the best to him. Him and Gueye are said to be the two big centre-back prospects in the academy. So, I'm very happy with that. I'm very, very happy with that in general. Here we have Wayne Modes. I'm going to get you guys involved now, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to get you guys involved. First of all, Alex, Ginos, hope you're well. And secondly,
hope you well too.
Wayne, I hope you're good too. How you doing, bro?
I'm good. Long time. Been a long time.
It's been a minute, hasn't it? It's been a minute. But I'm good, I'm just enjoying my time at the moment, enjoying the summer, enjoying the Euros. I hope you boys are too. But yeah, because we've kind of rattled through most of the important transfer news, I just want to get both of you guys' thoughts. And because I know, Alex, you've been waiting for a minute down there already. Just tell me straight up, what do you think about the idea of Chelsea signing Adama Traore? Do you think it's as crazy as I do? Or do you see a logic behind it and a positive thing behind it?
Here's the thing. If Tuchel genuinely wants Traore, okay, fine. But I don't see him being signed for Chelsea as a right wing back. I know that he played for Wolves as a right wing back last season, but when he played in that position, he was very limited. You know, that sort of plays, that sort of role was more for Matt Doherty when he was at Wolves before he joined Spurs. And his departure really basically had an impact, I think, on the team, but also on Traore. And because the thing about Traore is that, you know, what's threatening about him is his dribbling, his pace, he's basically threatening the final third. And if he's on the right wing as a right wing back, I just don't see him being able to deliver that similar threat. I think it limits him. So, like, I understand if he's probably a forward prospect, but a wing back prospect is a bit, that doesn't sound right to me.
It's weird because in a way I agree with you, but in another way I'm like, as an actual forward, I find him even worse, if that makes sense, in terms of compared to Chelsea ability. Like, do I think he's a great wingback? No. But do I think he's more likely to be good enough at wingback for us? I think he's more likely to be good enough there than he is as a winger, because I've seen the guy play. Like, do you know what I mean? Like I said, I made the comparison to Ross Barkley. He has physical ability. We know that. He has technical ability too, and Ross Barkley has loads of that. Probably, besides Pedro, one of the most two-footed players Chelsea have had in God knows how long. But he just doesn't have the mental capacity to understand football at the level that Chelsea Football Club operate at. And I think that's the same problem with Adama Traore. You know, you've seen how dreadful Spain were at the Euros until the last game. Adama Traore wasn't even anywhere near the team. Like, I know he's in the squad, but he wasn't even brought on. Like, do you know what I mean? And they needed something. And even then, he wasn't used. Is that a player I want? No. But at the same time, you know, Luis Enrique's always been a bit weird sometimes. So, you know, maybe I shouldn't hold that against Traore. But I don't know. I just can't get behind it. Like Alex said, if Tuchel really, really wants him, you know, maybe I just have to deal with it. But like I said, it's just, to me, screams Zappacosta. It just screams another Zappacosta that we have for a year or two. Maybe he scores as a screamer like Zappacosta in the Europa League, and then, or was it, Europa League, and then we send him out on loan to somewhere.
No, Champions League. Champions League. It was a Champions League. His first season when he arrived, he scored a screamer against Karabakh.
It was, yeah, it's true. Yeah, no, you're right. But Wayne, how do you feel about Traore now that we seem to have missed out on Hakimi? Is Traore someone you like, or would you just prefer to, I don't know, stick with Reece James, Aspie, and Hudson-Odoi in terms of, you know, depending on opponent, who we stick at right wing back?
It's obviously that Tuchel wants a right wing back. The thing is, the problem we've gone for, because Hakimi's the only right wing back who's in my opinion, the only right wing back I think of who's good enough. Like, there's not many out there that are on his level, that are good defendingly. He knows what he's doing, but he provides so much false attacking wise. So it's hard to get anyone else. But obviously, if Tuchel wants the right wing back, then fine. He's done miracles with Alonso, with players that we all thought were like Christensen and Rudiger. We all thought at halfway through the season they're done for, and he brought them back into the squad and made miracles. So if he can do that game with Traore, I don't see why not. Traore reminds me of a bit of a smaller Victor Moses.
Smaller? Have you seen the size of the guy? Or do you mean height-wise?
I mean it's like smaller structure, wise, because the only thing will say about Traore, we will get in debt because we have to buy a load of baby oil for the guy.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, I mean, like, obviously we take the piss out of it. In general, if you think about it, it's not stupid, right? Like, if you're a guy that's being held onto all the time, if you make it more difficult for the others to hold on to you, to essentially foul you, to make that more difficult, it's not a stupid thing. But because he's seemingly the only player in the whole world that does this, it's just weird. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just, why are you doing this? Like, also, he rubs this all over himself. It's not like he gets some medical staff with, like, gloves on to rub it in. No, he just runs around with oily hands for the whole game. Also, whenever he plays wingback, so he does the throw-ins. Does that mean the ball when Wolves plays just oily? Do you know what I mean? I have all these questions that just make no sense to me. Honestly, it's crazy. I mean, I've seen a comment here. Let me just get it up by TK13 here. And it's not a completely outrageous statement to make, saying, in my opinion, Traore's bad season was also down to Jimenez's injury. Of course, Raul Jimenez picked up that awful head injury for Wolves, who, of course, was their main striker. And it's also part of the reason why Wolves kind of crumbled the longer the season went on, because they just didn't have their goal scorer. In the 1920 season, when obviously Jimenez was there and Traore was playing as a winger rather than a right wing back, like Alex said, when Doherty was still there to play right wing back, Traore was brilliant, and brilliant is maybe a slight exaggeration, but had about 15 goals and assists. I don't know the stats, but I'm just going to believe you, TK13, which is decent. You're not wrong with that. And like Alex said, he is more of a winger than he's a wing back. But I just don't think he's anywhere near as good as our wingers. So that makes me question even more, why would we ever consider signing him, if that makes sense? Like, sure, if we, for some reason, sold Hudson-Odoi and Ziyech and whatever else, and we couldn't afford a big-name winger, get someone like Traore, fine. Sure, fine. But I feel like Hudson-Odoi is good enough to do the job that we need as a backup right wing-back. I think it's enough. Considering Aspi has done a very good job there, and Reece can obviously do the thing too. And I will say again, I don't want us to play a three at the back anyway. I think if we sign a right wing back, I think it just forces Tuchel and the club to always play three at the back. I think if we don't sign it, there's more potential for versatility. Do you get what I mean?
But the thing is, the players we've got in the squad right now are most suited to a three at the back. So
yeah, no, of course, I agree.
Want to go back
to
DM
to change. I agree.
There will be a lot of changes needs to be done by players bringing in to suit that system. So unfortunately, I think three at the back is going to be our future till we can make them many signings in different transfer windows.
I think it's just a DM. I think if we get a DM, we're fine in a back four, personally. Maybe a centre-back, that will be one that would have to try out, get a DM, see how it then works, and then only then we know, do we also need a centre-back, if that makes sense. Just as a shout by Dane K here. Of course, guys, if you want us to talk about anything specific, do use the super chat function. Like I said, if you're a member or want to become a member to then join the stream, become a member, or if you are a member, go into community tab and join the stream right there. Dane K making a shout at Dumfries has looked good at the Euros, as of course a right wing back playing in that position for the Netherlands. I mean, except heading the ball, seems to be incapable of that because he's missed like 3 sitters with his head. But outside of that, he's been absolutely fantastic. Most people will probably know him off the FIFA game rather than of real life. But, I mean, he's 25, plays for PSV. As far as I'm aware, he's their captain. Would he be our starting right wing back? Maybe not. Would he be a decent backup right wing back? I would say he's probably a better backup right wing back than Adama Traore, personally, and probably cheaper. But would he want to be a backup right wing back when he's captain of his current club? This I will never. I don't know, right? So, but it's a shout. It's a shout. Alex, what do you think of at least the idea of Dumfries, or Dumfries, as he's apparently pronounced in Dutch? What do you make of that shout?
The thing is, I can't base anything off the Euros. It's completely unfair because, as you rightly said, I mean, if you're basing everything off the Euros, you know, Harry Kane has been appalling. Gilmour has been absolutely world class. You just. The thing is, I need to see how he performed at PSV before saying with absolute certainty that probably he's the right player. And before I can make that judgment, it's unfair for me to say he's good or he's bad. But yeah, so I basically have to look at that before saying anything, really.
Fair play. No, that is fair. Wayne, you got any thoughts on Dumfries? What's his first name? Denzel. Sick name, though. Like, just for the name, Denzel Dumfries. That's a sick name. It's a baller name.
But you know Scott Page,
of course.
You know Scott, yeah. And he informed me when we were talking about him the other day that he's most suited to be in a back four than in the wing back. He can play there, but he's better as a normal right back. That's what they play as PSV. So he's informed me that it wouldn't be the best move for us if we want to stick with a back three. So I'm sure. I don't know him. I wouldn't know if he's any good or not.
Saying. Just in almost response to what Alex just said, obviously that the Euros, you can't use them for anything. I think in terms of if you're playing a position that you don't usually play and you do good in it, I think you can show at least a sign that there is a potential of him doing well in that position, if that makes sense. I'm not saying you can certainly say because he does well as a right wing back at the Euros, he's not going to be a great right wing back everywhere. I agree with Alex on that sentiment, but I think I've seen enough of him at right wing back for the Netherlands to say that I think he can be a good right wing back, if that makes sense. Also, you have to always consider PSV are probably after Ajax the best team in the Netherlands over the last few years. So, and the lower you go down in the Dutch league, the worse the quality becomes. So if you're a right back for one of the two best teams in the Dutch league, you're pretty much playing right wing back anyway. Do you know what I mean? Like I will make that. I do.
Look,
I
do think that's a fair argument, but the thing is that look, I completely agree on the concept that if a player performs very well in Euros, he should at least be on your radar, and you should at least start scouting him if you haven't even scouted him before, and he should be on the short list. However, that doesn't mean that just because he's played 3 great games, he's going to be able to perform like that all season. So that's why I say you got to look at his performances at PSV. And if it's true that basically, at PSV, he plays as a right back, but obviously at PSV, over there, I'm sure they play as attacking right back. So I'm sure he can play as a right wing back, that means. Then I need to see if he's going to suit Chelsea in a back four. And what does that mean for Reece James? How are they going to compete in that position? What does that mean for Azpilicueta? That's kind of like the difficulty is that a lot of people say, throw these names out there. But it's like, okay, is he going to suit what we need? Are we going to, because the problem I had with Hakimi is that when I looked at all the different formations that we could have with Hakimi, we were actually very limited. I couldn't see really any other formation apart from 3-4-3 or 3-5-2.
I would say 4-2-4 or 4-4-2 is fine. If it plays as a wide midfielder,
you get it. It's very limited.
Strikers, I think you do okay. But no, I agree with you. That was my kind of hesitation as well. Unless Tuchel is so stuck on continuing with the same formation, I was like, do we really need Hakimi? Which, in my opinion, is why we didn't go more all out. Because I think if we really wanted him, we would have just gone and signed him, personally. Look at last summer. We wanted someone, we just went and signed them. And I think that's what we're trying to do this summer. And I think that's what that's what I'm hoping we're going to end up doing with Erling Haaland as well. So I think if we really wanted Hakimi, we probably would have signed him.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say is that what we know about Tuchel is his tactical flexibility. And signing a player like Hakimi limits you really to 4-2-3-1/4-4-2 and a three at the back, so 3-5-2 and 3-4-3. Obviously at PSG, he would do a 4-2-2. I'm sure there were times, I could be wrong, but I think he might have played a 4-3-3 once at some stage. But the point is basically he doesn't allow for that tactical fluidity. Now, obviously, no doubt, Hakimi is, to me, a very, very good player. And if he did join, obviously he would be superb. But what I want also people to focus on is, okay, well, is he the player for us? What is he going to bring? What is he going to add to our current players? Is he going to be an improvement? Is he going to be a backup player? Do we really need a backup player based on the squad we have? No, I think what we need is world-class talent. What we need is players that are better, that can compete, that can push youngsters that are coming up saying, actually, this is the player I have to compete with. And if I perform better than him, hey, I'm in the team. It's good because this player is a world-class player. I'm beating him, then that's great, No,
I completely agree with every word you said there, mate. I completely agree. Just as a last kind of thing to touch on before we move on from the whole right wing back stuff, ZK13 with another good comment here, saying one way to disrupt the structural low block, which is obviously what Chelsea have been struggling to break down the most, is to have a direct, powerful dribbler. And Traore is one of the best dribblers in the Premier League. You can't necessarily disagree with that. Maybe Tuchel needs that profile of player in the squad. I see that, but like Alex just said, if we're going to sign someone, sign top-class players and make whoever is the starter now the backup. Not sign a backup to whoever's the starter now. Because if we were that great, we wouldn't be like 30-odd points behind Man City. And people told me, but don't change a winning formula. And obviously, we've done really well. That's what the people, when I say I don't want to play a back three, that's what people tell me. But look how well we've done in the back three under Tuchel. And they're not wrong with that. But let's not kid ourselves into things. We did well against good teams. Hence why we won the Champions League. Our league form, even under Tuchel, it was better than what it was under Frank. Hence why we got top four. But it still wasn't anywhere near beating Man City over a season level. So you can't say over the last 4 months we are now good enough to beat City. We need to change something to actually not even beat, but challenge City seriously over a season. And obviously a different and a better right wing back / a different / better striker can make that change. But I personally believe also a change of formation and having more attackers to drag low blocks out of position and creating space is part of how to break low blocks down better. So, of course you can say, back three works brilliantly. Yeah, keep doing back three against the big teams, beat them every time. Amazing. But still have the tactical flexibility to play back four at times. And I think spending 70 odd million on Hakimi would have done is almost forcing. It's like people had the same argument for Werner all season. Oh, Lampard's only playing him because the board forced him to play him because we signed him. Or the same for Tuchel. I wonder why didn't the same count for Pulisic or Havertz, who were way more expensive. But anyway, still, that's what everyone said. And we probably have similar issues next season with Hakimi. But for me, it's just, if you're going to get Traore, fair enough, but I prefer not to sign backups. I prefer to sign starters and make whoever is the starter now a backup. That's just all I have.
Just one point that you just addressed. We're champions of Europe. We won the Champions League.
One sec, Alex. You need to unplug your mic or something. You sound like a robot again. You sound like a robot. Anyways, you sort that out. I will move it on swiftly because the Billy Gilmour discussion is a very interesting one. So I want to go to you, Wayne. How do you see that? Do you think we should loan him out? And because I saw it wasn't your tweet, it was Johnny's tweet. But do you think we should loan him out? And if so, where? Obviously, like I said, there's been talk with Norwich, there's been talk with Rangers, there's been shouts of apparently Leeds. I mean, Leeds, in my opinion, would be great if we could get a loan there. But how do you see it? How do you see it?
How I see it is that I think he deserves stay at Chelsea. But the problem is he won't get enough game time, and that's what he needs right now. He needs that game time to get better and improve himself, and so that he needs to go on loan. It's not about him not having a future at Chelsea. It's just for him and his for his future development. He needs that. He needs a loan move to get. But Leeds would be ideal because how they play. But as long as he's getting game time and he's been that guarantee for that game time, he's not going to be put on the bench and not get any game time. Because if that's going to happen, I'd rather him stay at Chelsea and learn that way. But if he's guaranteed game time week in, week out, then especially in Premier League, I think he'll do really well, and I think he'll come back stronger and better for us in the next season.
No, 100% agree. 100% agree. And I think the situation we're in with Jorginho he's so good right now, but eventually we're probably going to want to make some of the money back that we spent on him rather than letting him go for free and debatable whether we're going to offer him a huge, long new contract. And then if you send Billy out on loan, he comes back. He's a significantly improved player. You can bring him in. You can buy a different midfielder, and then that works. But right now, Billy just isn't. And if you don't give Billy the game time over the coming season, he isn't there yet to really jump in for Jorginho, in my opinion, next season, if that makes sense. So I completely agree with you, Wayne. Before I take it to Alex and just let him say his piece on the Billy Gilmour thing, ladies and gentlemen, smash the like button. Let's get to 100 likes right now. Smash the like button right now. Massively appreciated. Of course, I've said this many times, but likes help content creators, because if something has a lot of likes, YouTube understands it's like, ooh, good content. Let me show it to strangers. That's how content creators grow. So please smash the like button. Use the super chat function as well if you want to support the channel. And of course, subscribe if you haven't already. But Alex, Billy Gilmour, do you agree with myself and Wayne that he should probably go on loan, or do you think he should actually stick around?
Just before that, the mic is working, right? Just making sure.
It's working perfectly well now.
Okay. All right. So, Billy Gilmour. Okay. This is a tough one because on the one hand, my heart says this guy needs game time. Like, okay, he's played a couple of games here and there. He's shown really good performances. But what the guy needs is consistency. He needs consistent game time. Week in, week out, we deliver similar level of performances, if not better. And that's why it is very important for him to go out on loan to the right club. Now, the question is, which club? It's just very difficult because it depends on whether or not that manager is going to suit what Billy Gilmour needs. Is Norwich going to be the one? Is Leeds going to be the one? I mean, who really knows? I mean, it could be that basically he gets loaned out to Leeds, but he doesn't even play week in, week out. So that kind of feels wasted. So to me, we've seen players like Ampadu, Loftus-Cheek, Conor Gallagher go to teams that are probably relegation candidates, obviously last season. Norwich, I mean, look, who knows what it's going to be, when they arrived back into...
maybe Billy Gilmour is the one reason they don't get relegated.
It could be as well. But the point is that I think teams like those will definitely guarantee young players that are talented, that have the work rates in them week in, week out. And as long as they prove themselves in the big games, in the important games for them, to make sure that they don't get relegated, trust me, they are going to be hailed and basically seen positively by their fans. And that is something good. That is what we want to see. So if Billy Gilmour goes to Norwich and delivers an amazing job, that actually the following season, that could provide him with an opportunity to say, okay, well, I mean, should we now consider actually giving him first team football at the expense of maybe Kante and Kovacic, for example?
Yeah, I mean, what I like the Leeds idea is, imagine Leeds being Billy going to Leeds. It would just be like he'd be so fit. You could just play him 50 games next season, because just going to Leeds itself, he'd be forever fit. And that's just the idea would be great, in my opinion. Just to save us injuries in midfield. He'll never have a muscle injury again in his life. But in terms of, obviously, Leeds had a good season. They have a good team. Bielsa is almost a little bit like Sarri, but in a good way. Also like Sarri, where he says he has a system and he sticks to the system no matter what. And that's what he believes in. And he will work on his players until they get it right. Only if he believes his players have now exceeded their maximum potential in the system and then it doesn't work, only then does he change the system. First, he wants to make sure the system works, or everyone understands the system and fully clocks it, and only if it then doesn't work, then he changes it. It's a little bit like that with Bielsa. So how quickly would Billy get game time, considering he's a new player, if that makes sense, right? But if he goes to Norwich, some people have said it in the chat already, they play a 6-6, which is obviously what we play at the moment, at least. They're footballing sides, no matter what. At least that's what they did on the Falcao last time they were in the Premier League. I don't know what Gino's is laughing about. Probably the comment of
have you seen the comments? Sorry, I'm really breaking character here. I really, it's like hilarious.
Breaking character. Are you saying you're fake?
I'm trying to stay normal, trying to listen to you, not interrupt you, and then all of a sudden it's like the comments are too funny. All right, good. Carry on.
Oh, good. Yeah, I mean, for me, it's just that if he can get a loan where he plays a lot, I think there can only be a positive. But of course, we can only do that if we either bring, I guess, Conor Gallagher, but not really. We probably have to bring in a midfielder to allow Billy to leave on loan, whether that's Rice or someone more younger and keeping Jorginho as the guaranteed start, and you bring in someone like Tchouameni or something. Doesn't really matter. But if we let Billy go, we need a midfielder. Like, that's factual. So, that's
but Rice, though. Anyone but Rice.
Fair enough. What's your problem with Rice? Do you just not rate him, or?
I don't rate him. I don't even think he's good enough for England. I just don't. The only thing he's be good for is putting in the pan with boiling water, bit of seasoning, and cooking up Robbie curry. That's what it is. Only Rice is good for.
Yeah, but hang on, you don't get to be vice captain for West Ham United and be bad.
You can't just
say that.
Like that.
I mean, look, he's West Ham's vice captain. There has to be something good about him to actually be, to have that leadership role.
It's West Ham.
I will agree with that with Wayne, because is there any other West Ham player you take? There isn't one I'd take. So,
Yeah, fair enough.
I'd probably take Mikel Antonio as a backup striker, to be honest, but not as a starter, But no, I mean, I see where Wayne's coming from. Although I don't like you don't slag Indian takeaway off like that, bro. Like, you know, you got to respect it. Respect the rice, mate.
Oh, sorry. Okay, sorry.
All good. We have another super chat here, but Nicholas, appreciate it as always, saying a lot of debate on Billy Gilmore, but I actually think Hudson-Odoi is more in need of a loan. He needs to play in one position every week at a decent club. People need to get this Hudson-Odoi loan idea out of their head, in my opinion. The guy earns way too much money at his age to be going out on loan to anywhere. That's not going to happen. If Hudson-Odoi leaves, it's going to be on a loan with an obligation to buy or not at all. Or on a permanent transfer, obviously. He's not going to leave. I also want him to play more, whether that's on the wing or right wing back. I just want him to play more. I agree with that. But I think you just need to get it out of your head that he's going to be loaned out personally. I don't know. But let me get back to you, actually, Wayne, because I haven't heard what you think about this. What about Hakim Ziyech? Do you think he's a guy that we should sell? Or is it a guy that really deserves another season, so we should, keep him even if offers come in? Well, what are your feelings about Hakim Ziyech?
If the offer comes in that are close to what we paid, I'll probably cut our face and so we don't lose too much on them. But the problem what I've got is there's not a lot of players that are like him in our team or that can play the sort of balls he can do. Like, I know he's one-footed, but there's not many players in our team that can play balls behind like he can. If that makes sense. So I'd rather keep him for that. Because if we get Haaland, for example, he will feed off that big time.
He would. I see that. So if Milan come in with an offer, you would decline it?
If it was nearly at money that we need, then I'll think, and I'll say, yeah, sell it, because his age is the problem. He's not going to get any younger, so he ain't going to. So the money is not going to be as much. So I will say, if the money was close to 35 mil, then yeah, I'll sell it. But if it's nowhere near, they want a loan deal or something like, no, I wouldn't. I wouldn't not even entertain the offer.
Yeah, I take a loan with an obligation to buy, but an option to buy is way too risky. That he just ends up with us again and he lost drastic value and then we're just in the mud. But Alex, Ziyech, keep him, sell him?
I'm going to be honest. This is probably the most difficult situation you have put me in, Laurenz. When Chelsea were linked with Hakim Ziyech, and there was huge debate between Hakim Ziyech and Jadon Sancho, I remember Matisse was very much on that side of Jadon Sancho. I was very much that Hakim Ziyech guy. I was a guy who really wanted, as our first two signings, Hakim Ziyech and Timo Werner. And, when Hakim Ziyech did come in, I did see, obviously, he did come with an injury. So, obviously, we had to wait a little bit. But I did see something special from him. But then suddenly, I think from December, thereabouts, I think it was against Leeds, he must have got another injury. And then since then, we haven't seen him really play much. And I don't know what the specific reason behind that is. It could be that he doesn't fit what Tuchel wants. And if so, I mean, look, that is a little bit disappointing. But yeah, no, I really wanted Hakim Ziyech to succeed at Chelsea. I really did, because I really thought that there was something there. So yeah, I mean, in terms of whether or not I will let him go to AC Milan, if that gives him the game time he needs, honestly, why not? I mean, after one season, though, it's very, very sad to act. But sometimes, things like this, you can't have any sentimentality. You have to do what's best for the team. And if that means that Hakim Ziyech has to go to AC Milan, then so be it.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it's a tough one. And like Adash says here as well, we have to give him time in a way, yes. But in a way also, if he's not going to get the time, then we should just cash in and make as much money on him as we can. Because if we have another season where he barely plays, his value will only drop. Like Wayne says, he's only getting older. So if we're not going to use him properly next season either, and that's only down to Tuchel, that's a Tuchel decision, I mean, if we're not going to do that, then it's silly or pointless to keep him around from a business perspective, because you're going to make more money back now than you will next summer, unless the global financial situation becomes better and therefore we make more money. That is obviously a difficult one to predict. But that's my only kind of call for that. But I think we've discussed enough transfer rumors. Let's talk about the Euros a little bit. Wayne, have you followed the Euros properly, or you're not that interested?
I have every game. I've been doing loads of watch-alongs on YouTube, so.
Brilliant. There you go. And Alex, I presume you have followed it very closely as well.
I've followed most of them. There are some games that I haven't been able to follow because, you do need a break at some stage. Because obviously the thing is that you expect to go through a whole season and then suddenly, you know what? Okay, fine, you can relax now. But then there's the Euros and you're like, there's Belgium, the national team, and then you're like, oh, here we go again.
Yeah. It's weird because for me, the Euros World Cup is much less stressful than Chelsea, because sure, Austria is in it and I care, but because I don't have really any expectations, I'm not that even if we get smacked by Italy on Saturday, oh well, do you know what I mean? But if Chelsea gets smacked, I'm down for a week, But at the Euros, I can just watch game after game after game, and I'm having a great time. Do you know what I mean? Also, the pub's opening up again, and lovely time. Let me just get it on screen. Obviously, the brackets for the knockout stages, and obviously to go from there, because this UEFA structure of letting third place teams go through is the biggest dodgery of anything I've ever seen. I mean, I know the World Cup was also dodgy, with one side of the draw being so much easier than the other one, which is why England made the World Cup semi-final. Sorry, Wayne, but
no, thanks. That's all right.
But this is ridiculous how tough one side of the draw is and how impossible the other one is. Let me get it up here. The fact that Austria are playing Italy, but Wales, and Austria came second, but Wales, who also came second in their group, play Denmark, is the most outrageous thing I've ever heard of in my life. Why do we get the best team in the whole tournament and Wales play a team that came second in their group? This is just outrageous. Also, Sweden, Ukraine. How is it that if Austria came third in their group and didn't beat Ukraine, if we just drew against them, we would be playing Sweden. But because we won, we're playing Italy. I just don't understand any of this. But let's talk through the fixtures. And let's start with the first one, which is a big one. Belgium, Portugal. I'm not sure if this is genuinely the first one that will be played. I think Wales, Denmark might be the first one that will be played, but let's just talk through it as I have it here on this screen. Let me go with you first, Alex. Obviously, you are born in Belgium, or your parents in Belgium?
No, so basically,
you're back to being a robot. You're back to being a robot, bro. So let's go to Wayne. Portugal, Belgium. How do you see that unfolding? Obviously, Portugal, one of the craziest final days of the group stages yesterday we've ever seen. France were always through, but at some point, Germany were fourth, Hungary were fourth, Portugal were third or fourth and would have been out because they only had 3 points. It's a whole mess. Belgium have been good, but obviously Hazard isn't fully fit and the defenders are really old. It's a tough one to call, that one, for me.
It's all going to be about Lukaku versus Ronaldo in this game. It's going to be and both of them in form, both of them played well so far in Euros. I just think structurally, I could just see Belgium just being too much for Portugal. But it's a close game. It could be either or. Yeah,
no, I agree. It probably could be either. It's a tough one to call. Like you say, Lukaku, Ronaldo, probably. But at the same time, Ronaldo's obviously currently leading in the top goal scorer race thingy. But obviously, 3 of them have been penalties. One has been a tap in. It's and he didn't. Did he win any of those penalties? I can't remember if he did, but I don't know. I think most of it, in my opinion, depends on how Belgium can deal with the attacking threats that Portugal have, because I don't know how to word it properly, because Denmark, obviously, that was a tricky one. And I really hope Christian Eriksen makes a full recovery and manages to get back to playing football. But obviously, that was the second game after when they played Denmark. So that wasn't Denmark at their very best. Definitely not as good as Denmark were against Russia. And neither Russia nor Finland are particularly good. So the fact that Belgium won all those 3 games is not exactly surprising now, is it? obviously De Bruyne is getting more and more fitness. He's looked good when he's come on and when he's played, but it's a tough one. Alex, I presume your mic is now good. What do you reckon? Belgium, Portugal, and try to be as unbiased as you can.
So it's working now, just to make sure, right?
It's a bit echoey, but it's good. Yeah, go on.
Yeah. Sorry, I had to remove my microphone because I guess that's the problem. So, anyways, it's very difficult. I'm going to be honest, because obviously I do want Belgium to do well, but when it comes to Belgium, the main difficulty is their defense. Obviously we all know how Belgium is has a lot of talent up front, and then Hazard, Romelu Lukaku, Kevin De Bruyne, Mertens, Witsel, Tielemans. It's really talented up front. In defense, Vertonghen, Den Ayer, Alderweireld, Courtois,
Boyata,
if he plays. That's the tricky part. And the interesting part is that actually what I really think is that Thomas Vermaelen is probably better off, a better player than, Den Ayer and Boyata. And that surprises me. Thomas Vermaelen being better than those two options.
The fact that Vermaelen even still plays is ridiculous.
Exactly.
How old is he? So, you keep talking. I'll check how old he is.
Yeah, but look, despite that, I think that is the game of the knockout stages of the round of 16. It's probably a bigger game than England against Germany. You have, on the other side, because you have Cristiano Ronaldo, Bruno Fernandes, Ruben Diaz. Come on. You literally have one of the best games you could ever see. And that is a game that you have to watch because, honestly, I really think that this is probably the biggest game of the round of 16. Now, obviously, England versus Germany is definitely second place for me. I don't want to, obviously discredit them. I don't want to discredit Germany. But, yeah, I really think that that's the game to watch. And then whoever goes on to the quarterfinals between Belgium and Portugal faces Italy. No disrespect we'll come up to Austria, but no disrespect, Italy's probably going to go through.
Probably. You said the biggest game. It's probably not the biggest game, in my opinion, because neither of them are going to make even the semi-finals, just because of Italy. And I'm very confident in that, but we'll get to that in a minute. And then obviously England and Germany, whoever win that, are likely to at least make it to the semis where they probably will face Netherlands. And then, so you might have a finalist there. I don't think either Belgium or Portugal will make it to the finals personally. I did obviously see the super chat by Fernando. I highlighted it, but you didn't add anything. So appreciate the super chat. But yeah, let me just de-highlight that because nothing else to it. Bruno has been hot garbage. That is very true. Has been absolute hot garbage. And I was very amused by Mourinho's comments about it. Let me get the thingy up again quickly. Let's try to rattle through these because obviously we've been going for quite a while as well anyway. But yeah, Italy, Austria. Hey, Hungary nearly caused an upset against Germany. Maybe we can do it. Maybe we can go all the way. But if I'm being totally honest with you, it's not going to happen. So, Italy are going to beat us. I'm not sure whether they're going to smack us, but they're going to beat us. I presume both of you agree.
Yep.
I'd be very surprised if Austria did win that game, but they'd have to really pull up an upset. If they basically take it to extra time, I would be very surprised. And that shows that actually Austria are very underrated and actually they should be, given a little bit more respect than they, been given.
It's an interesting one. Austria actually have the second highest what's the words? Winning the ball back rate. I forgot the terminology for it. But behind ball recovery. Thank you. Austria have the second highest ball recovery percentage of the whole Euro so far, only behind Netherlands. Obviously, we also played Ukraine, who against us were shambolic, and North Macedonia. But still, something. But let's move on. Let's get to France, Switzerland. Yeah, France are probably going to win that as well. I mean, Switzerland are not as bad as people make them out to be. I watched a lot of like Euros predictions, especially by English people before the tournament, and half of them thought Switzerland were going to finish fourth. I'm like, you lot are all waffles. Obviously, the end Wales did actually finish ahead of them, which is the most outrageous thing in the world. Because again, I mean, obviously, how can you make it fair? But the only reason Wales finished second is because Wales got Italy on the last day when Italy rotated and weren't bothered. So, that's the only reason Wales came second here, because Switzerland should have smacked Wales. They didn't, but they should have done. But very confident in France, Switzerland, Wayne?
Yeah, France. I think France is just going to be too much. I think they've got a lot more to give so far in this tournament, so I think there's been too much.
Yeah, no, I'd agree as well. Alex, you too?
I'm just trying to look at the matches. So France won 1-0 against Germany.
Yeah.
They drew 1-1 against Hungary, and they drew 2-2 against Portugal.
Yeah.
I think this could be a tight affair.
Could be.
I still think France will go through, but I think it'll probably be like a 1-goal difference. So it's not a smashing win.
Hey,
I think it's going to be like a 1-goal difference.
It's France. They never win by more than 1 goal, because Didier Deschamps is probably the most pragmatic manager in world history, like more pragmatic than bloody Jose Mourinho. Like, how can you have that attacking talent and just always focus on getting a clean sheet and then even fail at that half the time, but then still be great and win the World Cup? So it's a weird one to call. But yeah, I think it's probably going to be close. I agree, but I think France are going to edge it. And we have an interesting one in Croatia against Spain, because Croatia didn't look great against England. Croatia didn't even look great against the Czech Republic. But Croatia looked good against Scotland, but that's Scotland, and especially Scotland without Billy Gilmore. And then, Spain were so bad for the first 2 games. Like, if sleeping medication would have never had to be invented if you could have just watched that Spain team. Honestly, it was the most dullest thing I've ever seen in my life. But then against Slovakia, obviously supported by Martin Dubravka with the stupidest own goal I've ever seen. Man tried to be a volleyballer, but is apparently not very good at that. So he punched it into his own goal. So that was a bit of an L. And then obviously, they scored 4 more, some couple of nice goals, but obviously Slovakia were just poor. I mean, Morata missed a penalty and they still lost by 5. Like, that's mad. So again, a difficult one to call for me. I've heard a couple of people edge Croatia, but personally, I don't. Croatia is so dependent on Modric and Kovacic and a little bit Perisic, because they just don't have a goal scorer. Obviously, Mandzukic is way past. They're not even in the squad anymore. Kramaric, for some reason, has been playing right wing, even though he's a striker for Hoffenheim. And he's played Rebic up front, who's kind of a bit like Werner, who's not a real striker and only like a second striker off the left type of player. So for me, I think Spain are going to edge it, but it's probably another close one. Alex, what about you?
I think it's going to go to pens.
Might do.
But I think the key difference that we see in Spain between the first 2 games and that third game, there was one key difference. What do you think it was?
Say again?
What do you think was the key difference between those first 2 games where obviously Spain played poorly and that third game? There's one key difference between the 2. Cesar Azpilicueta started that game.
Well, it's also Sergio Busquets started that game, and obviously Slovakia are really bad, but yeah.
No, but look, the point is, like, banter aside, I really think this is going to be a game that's going to go to pens, because I cannot see like basically a clear winner there. And that's
it's a tough one, because Spain is almost like Chelsea, where they create all the chances but they never score them, except against Scotland, against Slovakia, obviously. Like, they had comfortably the chances to win all of their games, but it's just missed all of them. So if they take their chances, I think they could comfortably beat Croatia, but I just don't think that they will, if that makes sense. But Wayne, what about you? Spain, Croatia, who do you reckon?
Croatia.
Fair play.
I think Croatia. I've always said they're quite a dark horse.
Go on.
I think they're a dark horse in the championship. I've always said that. I just think they've got. I think not a lot of teams are looking at them. I think they had a good World Cup last time, so I think they might just do quite well in this tournament. So I think Croatia.
Fair play. Then we get to the color, the battle of blue and yellow. between Sweden and Ukraine. Probably the worst round of 16 fixture I've ever heard of in my life. I mean, I know Sweden did well and obviously topped their group and stuff, but still, I mean, yeah, I know the last 30 minutes of the game against Poland was fun. But aside from that, it's a nightmare to watch. And people hyping up Isak is the weirdest thing in the world. I mean, the guy didn't even have a shot against Poland. Like, what? Anyway, I don't know. Austria beat Ukraine. There's no chance Ukraine beat Sweden, in my head. If we beat them, then they can't beat anyone. You go on, Alex. What would you reckon?
Oh, right. Sorry, I didn't realize it was my turn. Again, it's one of these games. Look, I mean, when it comes to Sweden and Ukraine, it's like it seems to me it seems pretty level, but I think Sweden could edge it.
Yeah,
I'm highly confident, but who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, no, who knows? Hey, we're just sat here giving some predictions. Nothing to pin you on. But Wayne, what do you reckon? Sweden, Ukraine? Do you think it's a close one, or do you think I don't know?
I think it's penalties. I could go either way. I'll be honest, both of them hasn't really been decent through the tournament. In my opinion, I think
Sweden topped their group. They can't have been that bad.
Yeah, it weren't that bad, I'm saying, but it wasn't great. Do you know what I mean? So I'll say it's quite deep. Half. I think it could be either or. Just don't see a clear winner.
Fair play. No, it's a tough one to call, that's for sure. And hey, the big one, especially for you, Wayne, England, Germany. Obviously, a lot of England fans are saying, "Oh, we can comfortably beat them, and you can do this." And I agree, you can, because you don't know what Germany's going to turn up. If the Germany turns up to play against Portugal, I think England are dreadfully screwed. But if the Germany turns up to play against France, or especially to play against Hungary, I think England could smack them a new one. So who knows? But how do you see that, Wayne? Especially if Mount isn't back. Obviously, Chilwell, but he probably won't play anyway, even if he's back.
Problem we've got an Ole Gunnar Southgate as the manager.
Yeah,
it's just the worst manager you can ever think of in world football. We've got it. It makes the weirdest decisions. If he was half the man that he should be, he wouldn't even think about playing anyone but Reece James right back. We don't. He would be saying Bellingham in midfield. He doesn't. And Sancho would be near the field. He's not even near it. So my hopes are not high, but I'm obviously going to say England because if I didn't, I wouldn't be British. But yeah, I'm not optimistic for the game.
Fair play. Alex, how do you see it going? Who do you think will edge it?
Honestly, it really depends on how Southgate decides to play. You know, I mean, look, the guy has been a defender for England. I'm not surprised that he has defensive tactics. And so, look, it's difficult because I've been following England for quite some time, and I actually thought that there was an opportunity for them to win a trophy, like on multiple occasions, and to see them not being able to do so and being like so defensive on the Southgate, I don't know. I mean, I think it might, look, if he goes attacking and if he goes with an attacking setup, there is an opportunity. But I don't see that happening. And that's, I think, where probably Germany could take the initiative there. The problem with Germany, though, is that their back line themselves is also kind of weak because Hummels is the biggest weakness in there. Look, he is obviously a great leader, but the problem is that, yeah, I mean, look, I've seen countless mistakes when it comes to Hummels. So it could go either way. That's the real problem. I mean, what side will really turn up? And I just don't know. I really don't know. I think Germany could make it, but it really depends on whether or not England really turn up.
Yeah, for me, see, I've seen a lot of people talk about this today, and obviously Gary Neville put his team, I think, on Twitter and was like, play a back three. And I've seen Alex Goldbridge lose his mind over, don't play back three. And I'm like, well, have you not watched England as Germany? Because the two games that Germany struggled in were against the teams that play defensive. France are a defensive team. People have this idea of France, because they have Mbappe and Benzema and Pogba. France are a defensive football team. They always have been under Deschamps, and they probably always will be. Let me just get the stats from yesterday up. I mean, it was 50-50 in possession, and Portugal aren't that attacking either. So, like, they're not like, England or, I don't know, Italy, who then end up having 60, 70, nearly 80% of the ball. That's not going to happen for France. Germany were dreadful against France. Germany were dreadful against Hungary. The one team that tried to attack them, Portugal, Germany ripped them to pieces. And also, Germany ripped them to pieces because Portugal couldn't handle their wing-backs. So in my opinion, England playing a three-back, therefore playing wing-backs themselves, only makes sense because you need to counter the wing-backs. And that's, just look at Chelsea. Whenever we play a smaller team and they all of a sudden change to a back three as well, all of a sudden we can't do nothing. Every time, whether it was under Conte in the second season, whether it was under Lampard, or whether it's under Tuchel. As soon as the opponent is a defensive team and they change to a back three, we're screwed. Every time. Obviously, we might still win the game, but we struggle to dominate the game. We struggle to create a lot of chances. And in my opinion, that's what England have to do against Germany. Sure, you can say attack them because they're not that great defensively. I get that. But Portugal tried that. And, especially without Mount and with the form that Harry Kane's in, I'm not sure whether England will do better trying that than Portugal, if that makes sense. So I would personally understand, and I think England have so much pace. Like, look at how Hungary tried to attack. If Hungary had a tad more space, they could have so easily beaten Hungary. And obviously, England players are also more used to playing under high pressure. Obviously the Hungary team isn't exactly used to, or we might beat a Germany team here. Like for England, for the England players, this is a bit different. If you chuck, obviously you have Sterling, maybe you play Rashford as well. You have so much pace. Like you said, Hummels, not only is he slightly dodgy as a defender, he's great as a ball player, but he's just so damn slow. Like, if you play an over-the-top ball to Sterling or to Rashford and they're racing and you put them on the left because Rudiger's got the pace, but on the other side, Ginter and Hummels, they're in the mud. So I think that's an easy way for England to get something. But
exactly, and all it takes
England keep Germany out.
Exactly, and all it takes is for Rudiger to be out of position a little bit. And all of a sudden, it actually collapses. That's why I think Klosterman is probably actually a better option as a right centre-back rather than Ginter. I just don't understand
why. Isn't Klosterman left-footed?
Is he left-footed? Or, okay, hang on.
Because doesn't he
Because
play
I thought he was
Leipzig
playing on the right for Leipzig.
Is he?
I think Klosterman plays on the right.
No, he plays on the left. Is it Hassan?
Oh, Halstenberg is the one you're referring to then. Yeah, no, Klosterman is the other guy. It's the one.
Yeah. Obviously, it's a tough one to call. If you're going to force me to back someone, and I know some people in the chat think, we have no idea because I'm going to say this. I think England are going to win because on the basis that Germany have been too inconsistent. But obviously, Germany also have a reputation for turning up when it matters most. And if they do, they will beat England. But I'm less confident in Germany having an average to good performance than I am in England having an average to good performance. And Germany, if they have anywhere near the howler they had against Hungary, they stand no chance against England. That's the only basis I'm going off. If they're both at their very best, I think it's also a tight game. But I feel like Germany are more likely to be great and more likely to be bad, while England are just probably going to be average. So then it always just depends on which Germany turns up, who wins, if that makes sense. But let's move on to the last couple of games. Netherlands, Czech Republic. Well, I reckon you have to back Netherlands. They're not being incredible in terms of defensively, except against Austria, but that was more Austria's fault than Netherlands' fault, I will say. But North Macedonia scored 2 offside goals. They had chances. Ukraine scored 2 goals. Netherlands are not that great defensively, but going forward, they're fantastic. So I think they're going to, get past Czech Republic, but I don't think they're as good as some people think they are after the group stages, personally. But Wayne, what about you? Netherlands going to edge it, and how good do you reckon they are?
Yeah, I think Netherlands will edge it against Czech Republic. I don't think Netherlands are going to be that bad. I think they'll probably get quarterfinal semis in because they've got, like you said before, their attacking force they've got decent. They've got some experience with youth mixed in there. I rate that Milan. Is it Milan? I can't say. Is it Milan? Can't say his name. Do right, Milan.
Marlon, you mean?
Marlon. I rate him very highly. I think he started the last game. If he plays again with Depay up front, then yeah, I think they've got a good opportunity to score a few goals. So I think, yeah, I'll go Netherlands.
That's fair. To be like Nino, first of all, I'm not English, so use lot. It's not me. But it's home made a fair point. If Kane plays up top, yeah, if Kane plays, maybe you have to back Germany. I don't know, because at least in current form, but Kane could also sort himself out. How often does it happen that Kane doesn't score for 6-7 games? Doesn't happen a lot. So, chances are, by just law of averages, he's probably going to turn up and score. But Alex, Netherlands, Czech Republic, what do you reckon?
Netherlands. I mean, honestly, they should win this comfortably. No excuses. They should win this comfortably. They should be directly through to the semis.
They probably should be. They probably should be, because obviously the teams that they will face in the quarterfinals is going to be the winner of Wales and Denmark. And that is going to be an interesting game, in my opinion. Because Denmark are good. But Wales are weird. I don't know. Wales is just this weird team. Like, they're really bad, but somehow they win games. It doesn't really make sense to me. Like, I really dislike Wales. I really dislike Gareth Bale. And I really dislike how Wales do well in tournaments playing medieval football. It really triggers me. So I hope Denmark win. But I wouldn't be shocked if somehow Wales scrape it. That's me. But Wayne, what do you reckon? Do you think Wales got a chance?
No, I'm with Denmark because a few reasons. One, because I'm part of the AC Hive. Obviously, big up my man Lewis. But no, it's because of what happened with Ericsson as well. I just want them to do really well for him, because. So I'm all Denmark, really, heart and soul Denmark.
There you go. And Alex, what about you? Do you reckon Denmark or Wales?
It's, again, one of those tough ones, because if I'm going to be honest, that's probably one of the games that I haven't really watched the most, like the games with Wales. And so it's a bit hard for me to really judge Wales. But Denmark, I mean, look, obviously they were in the same group as Belgium. And what I've seen is something special. After what happened with Ericsson, I've seen something special from Denmark. So, if anything, I think, like, my heart wants Denmark to actually go through. It could be a tight affair. Who knows? It could be that Wales win it, but I'm going to back Denmark for this one.
Yeah, no, I would agree. Because we've been going for quite a while, we will talk about the whole UEFA scrapping the away goals rule for European competitions. We'll talk about that on the stream tomorrow afternoon. So definitely get tuned in for that. Subscribe if you haven't already. We're going to leave it here. Download the OneFootball app if you haven't already. The link is down in the description below. Thank you to Alex and Wayne for joining me. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys for watching. Up the Chelsea, upwards and onwards. And I'll see you next time.